What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a marvelous day. This is the one and only Bones to Domes podcast, and we got my main man, Mr. Live. Say it 2 times, Mr. Live, worldwide in the building. How you doing, Jeff?
You should know one thing, Tony. If you're going to say Mr. Live Worldwide, you say it 3 times, and that goes hello, hello, hello. I'm doing awesome, man. Episode number 2, week number 2 in the brand new adventure that is the Bones to Domes podcast. Tony's coming to us from sunny state of Florida, as well am I, right outside North Reddington Beach. Awesome show we've got this time. We got a lot of positive feedback about our first show, Tony. A few technical difficulties, but unfortunately it is part of the game from time to time. But now we're in week number 2. I think we're going to really start hitting our stride, and I think people are going to really like what we got coming their way.
Definitely, 100%. I had a lot of fun the first show. Like you said, a couple hiccups, a couple rainstorms and different things we had to work through. But, it all went good. And I'm excited for this new show today, number 2. So let's go ahead and bring him in. The one and only Mr. D-Day-Dyer.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, not a whole lot. Just get my workout in. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of pre-workout in a little bit, do another workout, and hit the sack. Get up and do it again.
If we are not seeing you in workout material this close to July 14th, Mr. D-Day, something wrong.
Right? Yeah, no, we got a big one coming up, so no, we got to make sure we're ready. Jared's a tough guy, so I want to make sure that I have enough cardio and strength to get in there and try to put him down. So he's gotten a lot better since the last time, so I've had to make a couple changes to my program to make sure we got a little extra power this time. Got a little bit of a different program going. So big shout out to Phil DeRue with Heavy Hitter. Been trying to keep that a secret for a little bit, but that is the best strength and conditioning program on earth.
That's what we want to hear. A lot of people want to know about what's going on in your training camp, how you're approaching this rematch, because, Bkfc 47, you guys have got the co-main event for the interim Bkfc World Light Heavyweight Championship. Dance number 2 coming our way, but it's been so long since we've seen you two step foot in the squared circle for the first time, which coincidentally was your debut with Bkfc, and that was Bkfc number 12 back on our September 11th show in 2020. So based on what your first experience was with Bkfc and your first person stepping into the squared circle, toeing the line with, was Jared Warren. From what you experienced then, what are you looking to experience this time around now that you've got that bare knuckle IQ coming into this rematch?
Gotcha. So now that I actually know who Jared Warren is, I've been able to make a couple changes to my style. I was actually told by my original manager, who I'm not going to name, but I was told Jared was a nobody the first time we fought. They're like, yeah, this dude has a weak chin, can barely fight. So I didn't know a whole lot about him. So when I went in there, I got the W, but I really thought that I was a horrible fighter, because I was like, dude, why was this dude so hard to beat? I was sitting with my coach after the fight, and I was just like, man, I think I might just retire from fighting. I'm like, if I can't even beat a nobody, I'm gonna probably have a tough time in this sport. And they're like, oh no, we're gonna take you over to introduce you to his team. And they're just like, oh yeah, this dude was like an amateur world kickboxing champion. Guy's a baller, undefeated in the bare knuckle circle. I'm like, holy cow, okay. Well, because this dude was giving me a lot of trouble in that ring. So I was like, shit, man. Thank God he's a somebody. So I decided to keep with it. So, yeah, definitely looking to get in there and try to end it quick. Jared hits real hard. The hardest hit I've ever taken in my life up until that point came from Jared Warren in round 2. That was a tough one.
It's so cool that you remember that, but I guess that, that bare knuckle IQ and that memory, you really remember that, how that happens. But Tony, let's be honest with ourselves, man. This man has not been spoon-fed a single opponent since he has been with Bkfc. I mean, you're already rematching somebody so soon into your career. I mean, even though that was almost 3 years ago, but look at the roster of opponents that you have been against. Lorenzo Hunt, Dakota Cochran, Joe Riggs, rematching with Jared Warren. Man, this you started off in the deep end in BKFC, and man, you have shown us that not only can you swim, you're swimming against the current, bro.
Yeah, for a while I was wondering if BKFC hated me. I was like, damn. I'm like, I can't catch an easy fight to save my life. I'm like, my debut with Valor was, you know, a UFC veteran. And then you got world kickboxing champion. You got Cochran with 2 wins over previous world champions. Freaking Joe Diesel Riggs with 50 professional wins. I was just like, geez. I'm like, all right, well, at least they think I'm at this level. I'm like, and if they don't, they're gonna find out today. So I'm just happy to be a part of the process. You know, it's a good company. They're doing things smart. They're doing it right. And yeah, I just want to show people who I am. You know, I told everyone I was going to be in the UFC 3 years ago. You know, and made the transition to bare knuckle, and I'm like, shit, I'll take a bare knuckle world championship over a UFC debut. We'll call that good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Since that you know, transition from your first fight against him and now fighting him obviously again, what have you changed from that first fight, or should I say from your last fight really? And you're saying you have a new training coach now that you know, you're working on this fight for him again now.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I've kind of redid my whole style. Most people that watch me fight Jared and then Lorenzo, who then watched me fight Dakota Cochran, seen a huge change in my style for the Cochran fight. And I move a lot more laterally now, and I try to be really secretive in like the way I train. I don't post training videos, which pisses off a lot of my sponsors and a lot of the people that want to see that kind of stuff. But I'm in this for the championship. You know, I want to win. I don't particularly enjoy posting videos of my training schedule and everything, but you can see that I move more laterally now. You know, I'm off that center line. I'm trying to be tricky, confusing. You know, I'm talking to the guys there while they're in there. And the biggest difference between what I'm doing now and what I did then, aside from my style, is just my strength and conditioning. You know, when I fought Jared the first time, I basically was just doing burpees, you know, and some pull-ups, you know, and you know, that was pretty much my strength and conditioning. I thought burpees were the greatest thing in the world, but they're good for cardio, but they don't really get you a whole lot of extra power. So I got a new strength and conditioning coach that got me on the heavy hitter program. And once I got on that program, I realized that what was already a pretty hard punch became a pretty devastating punch. So I've been really appreciating the ability to hurt people when I hit them. You know, like Mike Tyson style, you know, he throws with the intention of hurting people. And that changes the whole outlook of the fight, because when people are getting hurt by punches that seem insignificant, it changes the whole way they fight. You know, they start being more defensive. They start, you know, throwing less offense because I'm trying to counter them. You know, when they do that and when they get countered, it hurts real bad. So, you know, throwing hard changes the game. You know, you got to have that ability to hurt people with regular punches. So that's kind of what I've been working on. It's just every punch I throw, it hurts people, you know, and it changes everything. So I'm excited.
You know, the funny thing about that is that you make mention about the burpees, how you're trying to kind of move away from that. But a lot of fighters, and a few bare knuckle fighters, have actually attested to this, that strength and conditioning exercise that they use, that they've actually been able to generate more power and more torque on their punches. It's just so weird, would be the muscle up pull-ups.
Woo, those are nice.
I know, but you got to figure that there's some truth to there on that one, because of all the additional strength and torque that it takes to do that, number one. Plus, that's going to build your lats.
Oh, like yeah.
Nobody's business doing stuff like that. So you've got to figure, as far as generating momentum by, you know, that's really going to add probably, maybe, I don't know if it's going to be significant, but I mean, you as a fighter, I'm sure that you could attest to anything that helps give me any kind of an edge, I'm all down for.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Those muscle ups are crazy. I mean, I see the dudes that are capable of doing those, and I'm just like, shit, I bet you that guy could hit somebody into next week. I'm like, freaking lats, like freaking straight up wings over here. But yeah, I can do like 2 muscle ups, man, and then I'm pretty tore up. You know, I usually fail on the 3rd one. So I'm like, but I can get up there. It's ugly. It ain't pretty.
Tony, we got to get this guy to number 5.
Right.
That's what we need to do. Bones to Dome podcast now has a goal, and that's to get D-Day to get to 5, and then we get to 6, and then at one point we're going to be asking for crazy numbers. But you know something? Crazy numbers only make you a better person.
I agree.
The opportunity for the interim BKFC World Light Heavyweight Championship, you know, it's just coming out. It just hit us out of nowhere when we heard about this opportunity for you. But what it does is it also leads back to a familiar face.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
It leads back to that familiar face. Now, the W, you get the W, you walk away with that. There's the obvious point, the obvious bridge that you have to cross in order to unify this. What are your thoughts on having to go that route once more with the knowledge that you have now?
Well, let's just say that is not a route that I am excited about. But with the new style and the difference in the changes and everything, I will be a much more competitive fighter this time. And yeah, but it's a bad day. It's not how I'd like to spend a Friday night. And I'll let you know that when Lorenzo gets in the ring with you, it is not a good night. It don't matter what you hit. I hit that dude with some of the hardest punches I've ever hit anybody with, and it barely phased him. And that was heavy hitter strong. That was clean. That was the dude's got a good jaw and he hits hard as hell. So it's not a good night. And I would say the majority of the time he's going to win that fight. And you give me 3 out of 10, I might win 3 out of 10. 7 out of 10, he's going to beat the fuck out of me, and I'm probably going to the ER. But that's the bridge, man. You got to be real with it. The guy's a baller. He's good in every category. He doesn't leave any openings hardly. And the mistakes that he has made in the past, he's critiqued those to where he's an absolute force to be reckoned with. So I'm rooting for his retirement. So
nice outro there. All right, man.
Yeah.
You're saying you want to win the belt, but you don't want to win it.
Yeah, man. It comes with a cost, but it is what it is, man. Lorenzo, it sucks being in his weight division, but it is what it is. He's one of those guys that you don't want to fight, but you kind of got to fight him. So
I guess like you mentioning Mike Tyson, I guess that's how all his opponents seen him. Like, I guess I have to fight him. I don't want to fight him, but you're going to get KO'd.
You want to be the best. You like that shiny belt. You're getting in the ring with him. So that's the way that goes. It ain't a good Friday night, because even if you win, you're probably going to the ER.
Now you did mention that your first fight, this is obviously the rematch, but that first one you said that he hit you with the hardest hit at that time.
Exactly. I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah. So are you saying Lorenzo hit you with the hardest one ever?
In every single metric. Yeah.
Also, I did want to ask you also, jumping off this for a second, just also still talking fighting though. What was your, I guess, most memorable fight that you've ever had? It doesn't have to be Bkfc. It could be in any fight ever.
The most memorable fair combat situation I ever seen myself in was actually when I was a wrestler in high school. So my sophomore year of wrestling, I started in 8th grade. So I only had a couple years under my belt. My 8th grade year, I lost 80% of my matches. My 9th grade year, I lost 50%. And then my sophomore year, I was winning probably like 65, 75% of my matches. However, I was going up against a guy named San Fernandez, who was an extremely jacked Spanish guy with blue eyes, very intimidating, arms the size of my legs, about 6 inches shorter than me, but just an absolute beast of a guy. It was in my hometown, and I was terrified of this guy. And when we shook hands, he about crushed my already large hands to about extra small. And I knew at that moment this was going to be a rough night. And so he piss pounded me for about 3 solid rounds, which is all there is in a high school wrestling match. Mm-hmm. And he was about to tech fall me, and about 10 seconds left, he let me up with the expectation of taking me down again and finishing me off with a tech fall, which was extremely humiliating at that time. And when he let me up, I realized that he let me up a little too close to him. He didn't see me as a threat anymore, because he assumed that I was extremely broken. And when he let me up, I realized that I was in pretty deep. So I hit him with my favorite move, which is called a gordo, which is basically a hip toss, headlock hip toss. Mm-hmm. Locked him down with about 6 seconds left. I watched the seconds go down, and then as soon as they hit that last second, ref slapped the mat, and I knew the match was over, and I lost. So I got up fully expecting them to raise his hand, and they raised my hand. And I realized that I stuck him with 1 second left on the clock after getting absolutely ragdolled for the entire time. And it was so bad that we had 2 matches going on. We had 2 mats going at the same time, that none of my friends even continued to watch my match. So when I walked over, I was afraid to even shake his hand. Thought he was going to whoop my ass, straight up. I walked over to all my buddies and I was like, damn, can you guys believe that? And they were like, believe what? I'm like, I just beat that guy. And they're like, you didn't beat him. We watched you get your ass kicked. I'm like, you didn't watch me pin him? And they're like, no, we didn't. Dude, we stopped watching that shit like 2 rounds deep. And so I was like, fuck. So I went home that night, and right before I fell asleep, I was laying in bed, and I just kind of looked at myself, and I was just like, the better wrestler lost today, you know? And I never experienced that before. I never experienced getting destroyed so badly and then coming back from that. And that was the moment that I realized that as long as you don't give up, there's always a chance that you can come back, because there's usually a point in every fight where somebody makes a mistake. And when they make that mistake, you have to capitalize on that mistake with every single ounce of power that you have. And if you do that, you can potentially win that fight. So don't ever count yourself out. And from that moment on, I started beating dudes that I should have never beat. I beat so many people that were better than me that it doesn't even make sense. But because of the timing, I paid attention to what they did, and I carry that mentality into MMA. I carry that mentality into bare knuckle, and that's the mentality that I stick with. I never stop. That's my rule. Is if my heart's beating, I don't stop. With the exception of Lorenzo. Okay, that I had to stop, man. I was in a bad spot right there. That shit wasn't getting no better for me. But other than that, I've never given up in a fight. I don't intend on doing that again.
Well, I mean, a lot of fighters would have gone with a different story. They would have gone with a story that may have been a little bit more dominating in their favor. There are so many different factors that were going on in your story, and the life lesson that you actually learned that carry it over to that also shows what a humble dude you are in that situation. Is that the amount of exponential knowledge that you gained from just that one experience, it just makes it incredible. And you're absolutely right. That mentality shows true in most combat sports, but I definitely believe it shows even truer in bare knuckle fighting, because in bare knuckle fighting, you can have the entire world in the palm of your hands, everything going for you, and one mistake, just one little mistake, and the dynamic of the entire fight shifts in your favor or the other favor. It's so fragile. It's so fragile. And I think that's another aspect that I kind of prefer bare knuckle fighting over boxing and MMA, because that dynamic is so fragile.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, the mentality is everything. In this sport, things go good for you and they go bad for you sometimes, and you just got to be willing to weather through it. When Jared cracked me with that first left in round 2, it sent my nose sideways. Like that shit absolutely crushed, man. I couldn't breathe
It
anymore.
did, didn't it? I'm just remembering it. Right? It did,
punch.
didn't it?
The first punch he hit me with, it sent my nose sideways and knocked my contact out of my eye. And at that point, I was like, "Holy shit!" That was the hardest part, and I was stunned. Like I'd never been hit like that before. I'd never been rocked up until that point. And so I kind of had this complex where I thought that I could just barrel through everybody. And when that happened, I was just like, well, I can't breathe. So now through my nose, which means my mouth is going to be open, which means now I'm going to potentially break a jaw or get knocked out completely. So I got to finish this dude quick. So after he broke my nose, I turned up the amperage. I want to win, so I put myself in the best scenario to do that. And like I usually break something every fight. My first bare knuckle fight against Dakota Cocker, it was oh gosh, up in North Dakota, Dane Sayers. I broke my right hand on my very first punch I hit him with. Absolutely, first punch I cracked him with. I dropped him, but he got his ass back up, and now I'm dealing with a broken hand. And I looked over my corner, I looked at my hand, and they looked back at me, and they're like, "Throw your jab," and I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna throw the right hand." And I went back and I smacked him again as hard as I could with the right, dropped him, he got back up, hit him with the right, dropped him, he got back up, hit him until he didn't get up anymore. And that's part of who I am. I don't stop. I'll break any bone in my body and I'll keep coming, because to me, I'm overcoming so much just by getting in that ring, that a broken body isn't going to be what does it. Like I don't even want to get in that ring 10 minutes before the fight. I'm scared as fuck, man. I want to haul ass. Like when I was going against Dakota Cochran, there's a moment where the butterflies were so bad I almost threw up. I was sitting there like, shit, man, what if I just like hauled ass? What if I just took off running and I just never fought? And then all my friends, could be like, dude, what happened? And I could be like, I ran, but if I fought, maybe I would have won. So technically I didn't lose. Like these weird ass thoughts were going through my head. And then I stopped and I was like, I bet you he's having those same thoughts. And I'm like, and if he's having those same thoughts, then I'm going to make sure he has those thoughts in the ring. So I'm like, and in that moment I conquer. I'm like, I make the decision, I do it. I've never ran away from a fight, but I want to every time. And my pre-fight anxiety, I would describe it as the worst in the world. I've always been terrified to get in the ring, but I use that fear as my fuel to crush dudes when I get there, and I do everything I can to ensure that's what happens.
What you got for him, DJ Tony, man? I don't want to hog up too much mic time. I understand Mr. Live Worldwide on the mic right here, but come on, man, come on.
Oh no, definitely. I just want to see. What's your pretty much last question, or we might got another question for you. But what is your prediction for this fight?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Same as every fight, first round knockout.
There you go.
Ooh, I want to see that.
I like that. Well, we won't take up too much more of your time. We appreciate you coming on. Definitely going to have you on again. Definitely do a quick little interview again with you the day before the fight at the weigh-ins.
Give him a shout out. Who you got? No. We got to give the man his shout outs. You got to give your shout outs while they're going on.
I was going to end it with that. Go ahead and give all your shout outs, all your sponsors.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I want to shout out to my team. We got Smith Brothers Combat Sports. It's really important to have a good manager, and that dude's taking care of me. When somebody does what they say they're going to do, it goes a long ways in the sport. I've been messed up a couple times by bad managers, and in this sport, as a young kid growing up, you deal with a lot of crooked dudes that just want to utilize you for your skills and take our shit. So it took me a while to find Kevin, but I've got a good manager. My physical trainer, Austin Pretty Boy Peterson, he's the dude that got a hold of me and took me from a top 500 fighter to, like, in a few weeks, hopefully #1 in the world. And that was through the heavy hitter program and through his strength and conditioning. He works his ass off with me. And my strategist, Larry Ferguson, he's the guy that helps me develop every game plan. We break every opponent down step by step, slow motion. So when I show up, there are no surprises. We have an answer for everything, and it's all about my willpower to enforce my game plan. And we got a solid team. I want to thank everybody that's been there for me. But yeah, those are the guys that really helped me get to this exact position.
Love it, man. Love it. You got anything else for him, Jeff?
Just that we are looking forward to the Fighting Pride of Sioux Falls, ready to step into the squared circle and show us what's up, and let everybody know that D-Day is coming your way. Bkfc 47.
You know it, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's a good time. You guys are got a great podcast. It's always good to see you guys.
Thank you very much.
Bring you back on very soon. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Open door, baby. Open door for D-Day.
Can't wait to see you guys. Take it easy.
All right, brother. We'll see you soon.
Yep, bye.
All right, Tony. Stuff. Good stuff. That's our co-main. That is one half of our co-main event, Bkfc 47, coming your way at the RP Funding Center. And on that's just going to be so much fun. There's just going to be so much going on July 14th. And you got to love an opportunity where you have two guys rematching for a title opportunity. I mean, before, it was his first fight with Bkfc, not his first fight in bare knuckle foray, but his first time with Bkfc. And now they rematch for when it truly counts. That's awesome.
With that said, give a 2-second shout out real quick to our sponsors. Going to go ahead and throw up that right there. Bucked Up Energy is one of our biggest sponsors.
Time to get bucked up, baby.
And also, our main man, Tommy with Billboard Mats, always hooking up the mats for us at all the events. So make sure you hit them up and get your own personalized mats.
Bucked Up Energy, yes.
Let's bring on one of the co-main for that same event that we were just talking about, the one and only Marine, Mike Richman. And that's Mike Richman, not Mike Richmond.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, dog, my bad.
Tony, you gotta check that spell check before you send something out to the Marines. I was gonna
apologize right away, man. That's my bad. I lived in Virginia for half my life, so it was always Rich. My pronouncing is Richmond, and it just when I use my text to talk, it fucked it up. I even sent it to Kevin. He's like, "Yeah, it looks good, man. Go ahead." I'm like, "All right."
This man
Literally
doesn't fight like
there,
a Richman.
sitting there with my girl, and we're sitting there with the whole bare knuckle extreme team having dinner, and I'm literally doing the flyer, and she's like looking at me like, "Will you put your damn phone down?" And I'm like, "I got to finish this flyer," and I fucked up. My bad, dog.
No, that's cool.
But how's everything?
Everything is beautiful, man. Everything is beautiful, my friend. But we are excited. We are excited for what's coming up, man. Lakeland, Florida, July 14th, man. An opportunity for the World Middleweight Championship against Dave Redneck Mundell. I mean, seriously, Mike. I mean, we've been here since your upward trajectory with BKFC, and whether there's a bump in the road or not, that upward trajectory just keeps going up for you because you're that kind of fighter, man. Talk to us about what it means to you to go after this world championship, man.
I'm excited to go back down to 175 pounds and fight for the title that I was originally supposed to fight for. If I'm being honest, I was supposed to fight for that one. And then, certain things arose. Obviously, my relationship or my beef or whatever you want to call it with Lorenzo Hunt, and then the opportunity to fight for the interim title came about, and I couldn't turn it down because I knew if I fought for the interim title, Lorenzo and I would meet. So I surpassed fighting for the 175-pound title to go up and fight for the interim, because I was slated to fight Ricci. I'm sorry, I don't know how he pronounces the last name, but I was slated to fight him. But I'm like, no, I want fucking Lorenzo. So I knew I had to go beat. I knew I had to beat Doolittle, to get that fight. So to be able to come back down and still be considered one of the top at 175, and then not only that, but fight for the title immediately. Yeah, of course, I'm very excited about it.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
And yeah, definitely. Most of your fights, I'm gonna say, well, all your fights have been in my top 10, really, especially that Doolittle fight. Glad that I've actually been able to witness, obviously Jeff as well, but DJ all of your fights, and I know for sure I'll never fuck up your music. So, are we coming out with the same as always? That's what I need to know from my DJ standpoint.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm torn on it. I used to, for a lot of my fights in Bellator and in bare knuckle, definitely for a lot of my MMA fights, I always came out to AC/DC Back in Black, and then this one fight I come out to Thunderstruck. I did come out to Thunderstruck before in the past, which I won. I'm unsure. I'm gonna try. I always think I want to come out to a different song, and then once I get closer, I'm like, no, AC/DC Back in Black. So I'm unsure yet. Yeah, I'm unsure.
Okay.
That's just your like for me. That's just your theme song. There's certain fighters when they come out to their music. To me, like you just have to, man. There's nothing else you can come out to. I like when we do the little intro and then jump into it, and then you hit the stage and hit your wall like that. We got to stick with it, man. We might can do something at the beginning, but that's your song, man. There's no way to switch it up.
Mentality when it came to my prize fighting career is, I think, a lot of the greats always kind of had their song that you heard the song and you knew they were coming out. So, most likely.
You do a little walk back and forth, and then you hit your and start hitting your, yeah, man. There's no way. I can't let you change it. Even if you change it, I'm gonna play it.
Wow. Wow. You're gonna have to answer the Marine on that one, man. I don't know if you're prepared for that.
Yeah.
I'm 205, man.
Love it. Love it.
Gonna get sniped for messing up his last name. So now, damn.
Yeah.
But no,
You're on thin ice there, DJ Tony.
I know. So another question, and I asked this question to everybody because this is very interesting to me. We'll jump back into this fight, but I do want to ask you. I know I hate repeating myself, but I like asking this question. Out of all your fights ever, I'm sorry I keep asking the same question, but it's just the one I love. What is your most memorable or your favorite fight that you've ever had?
Out of all my prize fighting career, obviously now with bare knuckle, to have the gut check with Doolittle, and I had a gut check with Sean Wheelock was there for that fight. Sean Wheelock commentated all of my Bellator fights.
Mm-hmm.
So in my semifinals featherweight tournament fight against Popo Bazeja at the Pachanga in California, that was another big gut check fight for me to dig deep and go out there and get that decision win. So it's a toss up between Popo Bazeja and then the Isaac Doolittle fight. The Isaac Doolittle fight was a fight where he's super tough, and I really pride myself in my punching power and my punching power prowess. And he took a couple of my shots, and then I'm like, oh shit! And then he hit me with the shot. That really dazed me. And in hindsight, I didn't take Isaac as seriously as I should have, and he made me pay for that full fucking round for not taking him seriously. But that was a good moment for me to really dig deep to the warrior and kind of the fighter that I am. That you got to kill me, you got to put me to sleep. So it's a toss up, though. It's a tie because they were both very, very important fights for my career. The Popo Bazeja fight was, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He was on a tear. I was a featherweight striker, knockout artist, and the winner of that went to go fight in the finals of that Bellator tournament. And then obviously the Doolittle fight was for the interim title at 185. So they were both really big fights in my career. It's almost a tie for me.
Nice.
Good answers on that. Very, very good answers on that. But I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, Mike. The moment that really got me, had my blinders on, and I said, this guy is going to be a force in BKFC. I'm going to be honest with you. For me, it was the Dakota Cochran fight, BKFC 21, because I had, at that point, Dakota was kind of on that upward trajectory that so many other BKFC fighters have had for a certain point until they reach a roadblock. And not only were you that roadblock, you were given body shots that I personally hadn't seen that kind of body onslaught since, I don't remember the last time that I saw something like that was very recently at our last time in Omaha with Houston Alexander, when he was taking just those just unbelievable body shots. But I know, right? But bringing down Dakota Cochran at that point, that was like punching down a redwood at the time. And those body shots, man, any other fighter besides Dakota Cochran would have absolutely caved in. But his toughness on those body shots and the fact that he was able to weather your storm as long as he did was just incredible. But that's the moment that I said, the Marines here to stay. The Marines going home with gold one day. It's just gonna happen, man. Talk to us about that fight, man. That was body shot central.
You know what? I think I always pride myself in my ability to go to the body. It's always kind of been something that I always practice heavily, in the training room, whether it be on the mitts and on the pads, but more importantly in the sparring room, really trying to put myself in a position to where you got to take risks to go to the body. I mean, that's just whether it's MMA, bare knuckle, or professional glove boxing, is you are taking a slight risk. There's a slight moment where you can be countered and put in a lot of trouble when you go down to the body and tap the body, whether you're going to the liver or the solar plexus or the sternum, or you're taking a risk. But I always know I can set it up and I can go down there, and I'm always willing to take that risk because I think good effective body punching is an underutilized tool in combat sports, period, but it's definitely underutilized in bare knuckle, which you're seeing more. And I'm happy to see fighters go down to the body more, not always headhunting for that shot. But the fight against Cochran was a big fight for me. I always take pride in going into someone's hometown and taking them out in their hometown. I've been doing that for a long time in the MMA scene. I mean, one of my biggest hometown upsets was my very first Bellator fight. Freaking Sean Wheelock was there for that one. I went up to fight Chris Bardesky. At the time, he was a really young stud, a really young guy. He's from London, Ontario, Canada. Like literally, we fought in Windsor, Ontario, so very close to his hometown, home country. And I went up there and I knocked him out in the first round. in his hometown and home country, silenced the whole crowd. You could have heard a pin drop. So then, when I came to BKFC, I came in with the arrogant attitude that I'll fight anyone, whoever you want. I mean, that was the attitude. You can ask Feldman, you can ask Shook. I came in with the attitude like, nah, I'll fuck up anyone that you put me up against. I did. And they put me against the gauntlet from the rip. I didn't fight no slouches. I didn't fight no bums. I didn't fight
tomato cans. No, sir.
Never heard of. They said, all right, motherfucker, you think you can do it? Cool. Go fight. Go fight Marcel Camps at 180 pounds or 185 pounds, your very first fight in his hometown. I said,
ran him over.
Oh, let's go. And then since Camp's fight, Cochran, Rickles, Doolittle. Outside of Doolittle, we were in Denver, but I went on a little run of fighting people in their hometown, and now I get to do it again. I don't know if Mundell, that's his hometown, but it's definitely his home or home area. And, I got to go out there and do it again. And I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I believe it is. If not, Tampa is only like 30 minutes away. So it's another hometown, challenge for you. What do you see, as going to be your toughest part of this fight?
You know what? I haven't fought another southpaw in a long time. I haven't fought another southpaw since my MMA days. Southpaws were tricky for me in MMA. With that double leg right there, I did really well at southpaw orthodox. I could stuff, orthodox shots, fairly well with single legs and whatnot. I had a really good single leg defense. But anytime that southpaw to southpaw when MMA, that tended to be difficult because I didn't practice against many southpaws. You transition to bare knuckle, that's pure striking. I'm very confident in my lead hand mobility, my lead jab, my lead hook. And more importantly, Mundell, from my understanding, is a true southpaw, a true left-handed fighter. Anyone that knows me or see me in action, I'm a right-handed southpaw, so I fight left-handed, but dominant, and I can knock people out with my left or right. But my lead right hand is very, very fluid and very powerful. And I think us establishing distance, timing, and really establishing the flow and the pace of the fight will win the fight. And I think that lead hand is going to be key. And I just think my lead hand is better and my jab's better. But more importantly, like I say every time, no matter who I fight, I will establish my power. And every time you fight me, you'll feel the power, and then I can reestablish the dance. Except for Doolittle, that dude's got a fucking granite face, and that dude don't stop for nobody. I get that dude's a tank, and I'm sure I'll cross paths with him again. But outside of that dude, who's a freak chin, I will always establish my power, and that lets me redictate my pace, redictate my rhythm. And the southpaw to southpaw, we'll see who's ready for that.
Nice.
I like to hear that. I love to hear that. All right. Now, we don't want to look past opponents because, any podcast that you've ever been on, there's always someone who has to ask you the future. And I know most fighters don't want to look past what's in front of them. But I'm just going to kind of throw this out there to see if there is a potential. Do you ever foresee crossing swords with Lorenzo Hunt again?
Well, that's what we want. That's the fight that we all wanted initially. And I'm not done trying to come for Lorenzo, whether Lorenzo wants it or not. And he can run his mouth and say all the things he wants to say. People want to see that fight. So whether we meet again down the road at 185, I'll go up and wait in front of him at 205. I'm just not a guy that plays it safe. I'm not a guy that plays it safe, that's trying to hide my zero, to try to hide my title, to try to go out there and play a safe fight. When you watch me, you're going to fucking see action, and you're going to see excitement every time. You can call me the Arturo Gatti of bare knuckle boxing. I'm coming to kill people.
I like that.
But yeah, Lorenzo, I want to do it again. So obviously I don't want to look past Mundell. He's a great, talented fighter, but the mentality is to get the rematch with Lorenzo, whatever weight. I don't give a flying fuck. If he ever fights in 185 again, I know they're fighting for the interim. And I'm sure he's unsure of what his next move is, but the game plan is to fight Lorenzo again. And if I don't fight Lorenzo again, then of course I want to fight the big money fight, and that is me versus Mike Perry. So if it's not Lorenzo,
Mike,
If it's not Lorenzo, I want to fight Mike Perry. So those are the two fights that I look forward to after Mundell.
I like the idea of Mike Perry because we got two fighters that will not step down no matter what. We got two fighters that are in the same situation. You gotta kill me to put me down. And I think as a BKFC fan myself, that's what we want to see. We want to see true grit. We want to see true heart and true talent out there for everyone. And I've always felt, Mike, that you're definitely one of the fighters that you see the product, you see BKFC. You don't see the grass is greener on the other side with another combat sport. You see something that you personally can build on. You see something that you can be a world champion in and build your legacy with BKFC. I just wish that more fighters would look at BKFC with that perspective as you do.
You know what? I think we'll get to that point. I'm glad you bring that up. I think we'll get to that point. You know, we're maybe 5-10 years down the road from it. I don't want to stretch it out too far, but we're building to that. And I think fighters like myself and others are building that platform, and we're building that mindset for future fighters down the road that, hey, you know, BKFC isn't a place for people to go after their MMA career or their boxing career. This is a place where you can become a star and build your own brand. I mean, I wholeheartedly fucking swear if BKFC was legal 5 to 10 years ago, you know, I've been in the fight game for 15 years professionally in combat sports. But if BKFC was, you know, if bare knuckle was legal in the US, you know, years and years ago, I honest to God would have ventured over here because it just tailors to my game and how I like to fight. And I think we're building to that. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be ambassador for that. And I want to brand and that down the road, and even when I'm done and retired, I want to be a spokesperson and a branding figure for this sport.
Love it. I swear that statement right there just made my day. Quite possibly, probably made my week, because that's what we want, man. And that's what, guys. Are you guys listening to this out there? If you're not tuning into Bones to Dones podcast, the Marine just set the blueprint on what a BKFC fighter should aspire to and how he should aspire within the company himself. So I hope you're taking notes from the Marine.
For sure.
There you go. Let's take a quick fan question real quick, actually from one of our other matchmakers. And he said, did you ever do any US AMI boxing growing up?
You know what? I didn't. You know, I didn't do any amateur boxing. I grew up, I know my dad and my uncle and family members were in boxing. So I learned how to box, just the basics. And I always had the natural ability to do it. I just grew up wrestling and then learning, you know, obviously, you know, grappling. And when I got in the Marine Corps, combat sports of submission grappling and all that. In hindsight, yeah, absolutely. I wish I would have done some Golden Gloves or at least some amateur boxing experience. I always had a huge love for boxing and the art and the science of it, the sweet science of it. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm trying to get my sons into it. They want to do all kinds of sports, which I love. You know, they're in they want to do motocross now, basketball, everything. I just want to, you know. But of course, I'm like, hey, let's try some boxing. How about some wrestling? How about some, you know, how about some jiu-jitsu? But you know, they'll do it. They're gonna do what they love. But yes. Short answer, I didn't. I wish I did. You know, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I still had a huge love for boxing that I wanted to pursue it. But the mindset was I needed an amateur pedigree and amateur career to kind of find the right manager and elevate in boxing. I only did 2 glove boxing bouts, you know, which I was 2-0. But then I was like, all right, cool, let's get into MMA and let's focus on that route. But yeah, I got nothing but love for the sport of boxing.
Well, I want to take a step back for just 1 second, and I want to talk about something. Today, I had an opportunity to rewatch something on the Bkfc app that I really enjoyed, and that was the Deep Cuts feature with you, Mike. And that was a really revealing expose about what was going on in the world of Mike Richman, showing us all kinds of stuff about your training styles. And not only that, the really deep relationship that you have both as a friend and I guess this person as a longtime mentor. And of course, we're talking about Muscle Shark, Sean Shirk, and what he's meant to you coming up throughout the world of combative sports. So, you know, touch on what that experience was like filming that Deep Cuts, man. I mean, because you seem like a very private person to me, but I saw you having fun while that was being put together.
Yeah. I'm an extremely private person, and as much as if it wasn't for prize fighting and the social media craze, I probably wouldn't have the social media, and I probably wouldn't be posting shit. I'm a very private person, and I have many different style of personalities. But when it comes to I think there's just a bunch of love and admiration that many fighters that come to the academy in Minnesota, at Minnesota Martial Arts Academy. When Sean Shirk was kind of the he was kind of the guy that you kind of try to attain that level of discipline, that level of training ability, and then that level of execution to go out there and be great. And I think he is such a good mentor to many fighters, not only myself, but many fighters that are his peers, that were, not his peers, that were up and coming fighters. He's one of the most genuine, nicest guys you've ever met. I don't know I don't even ever look at what his public fighter persona was, because I only ever really knew him personally, and he was just a super nice dude. Now, you would never strike him as a guy that wouldn't give someone the time of day or anything. He was just a good guy, and his training ethic and his discipline, it was another level. We still talk about it. Greg Nelson still talks about his level of discipline to this day to try to elevate the fighters in the room. And from time to time, Sean Shirk will come in and still chat with people. Second Shirk comes in, and like, holy fuck, that's the Muscle Shark. So he still has that level of respect anywhere he goes in Minnesota in the combat sports world. And I'm just very grateful and lucky that I got to become his friend. So
are we ever going to see the axe throwing rematch? Are we ever going to see that happen again?
That I know we need to see that.
We need to see that again.
Fucking guy.
Awesome.
All right. Now, besides what you do, we're gonna get you out of here shortly. We know you're at work, but talk about work. Actually, not fighting work, but your day job. What I want to know real quick. What's the theme night there tonight?
There's no really specific theme tonight. It's just a Tuesday night. At Spearmint Rhino, Minneapolis. Obviously, anyone that knows me, I run a gentleman's club, and this industry has been very, very fortunate for me in a positive way. It's got me many things in life. It's let me live a comfortable life. Now, granted, I live a crazy schedule, and it's not the most ideal schedule, working that night shift, that vampire life. But I've grown to be successful at it, and I've worked myself up the ranks to be able to run clubs and be the top guy in charge. But as far as tonight on a Tuesday night, it's a low key Tuesday night. It's early on, so I had enough time to slide off to the side and one of my private rooms.
We appreciate it.
Oh,
man.
so that's why we're not seeing too much light in there there. They're keeping the VIP lights low. Okay.
Yeah.
I was able to slide off in one of the private rooms, to knock this out.
I thought he was keeping the light low. I thought he was keeping the light low to really.
I know, like
aura
Undertaker.
of the, I know, right?
Mankind. But we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. We know you staying busy with both your jobs. Any sponsors or anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Obviously Kevin Smith and the whole management team. When I transition over to, you can ask Kevin that I'm not the most easiest person to work for. I can be very short fused. I can be very irritable, but he's such a patient and understanding guy with me, and he gets shit done. And I love my relationship, on a friendship level, but also on a professional level. And, I'm happy to see that continue to grow. As far as sponsorship, man, I got a huge shout out to Lions Not Sheep, Sean Whalen, for really backing me and sponsoring me. And my relationship with OnlyFans. I've had a good relationship with OnlyFans for a handful of fights now, and they're still backing me, and they take care of me really well. So a big shout out to those two sponsors. Spearmint Rhino Gentlemen's Club, and not only that's the place where I work outside of fighting, but they're rocking with me financially for this fight as well. And anyone that backs me in my career, in my dream as a prize fighter, I got nothing but love and appreciation for that. You know, I'm 38 years on the game. I've been fighting competitively in combat sports for 15 plus years. So to still do it at a high level and have people back you for that is a very grateful experience, and I'm grateful for all those that back me. So, you know, thank you all.
Love it.
Definitely,
Love it.
man. Well,
Love it.
it's close to me and Jeff too, so we only got a short ride over to come see you for that fight as well. If you're in town, like I already DM'd you a couple weeks ago, my boy Captain Kelly said if you want to go out on the boat, fish, whatever, relax before your fight or after your fight, he told me to make sure to remind you that he's available for that to take you out. I believe. Oh no, last time Jeff didn't go, but a lot of the other
Hey, don't
BKFC
put me on
fighters.
the spotlight. I'm not the interviewee here. Come on now.
No, Mike didn't have a chance, but I'm saying last time we did it, we took out a lot of the BKFC fighters. Actually, Kevin went on there. So yeah, definitely, if you ever want to do that while you're in town, just let me know and we'll set it up for you. He's also going to set up what we also talked about. We don't want to give away too much of your walkout, so. But
yeah, let's keep some things on the DL for this.
He's got all that set up for you too. So he's you're his favorite fighter, with him being in the Marines too. So I had to go ahead and shout him out too.
No, I appreciate number 5.
But yeah, definitely thank you for coming on. You got anything else for him, Jeff?
No, I mean, we're just excited, man. It's coming up July 14th, you know, middleweight world championship, you know, BKFC at bkfc.com. Come see the Marine do what he does best. Thank you so much for joining us here on Bones to Domes, our second week, only our second weekend, and you're coming in, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, man. We'll definitely, again, like we tell everybody, interview at the weigh-ins, give you another little interview, get you on again. And we'll see you then, man. Thank you.
Showtime.
Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Peace.
Oh, man. So that's what the lighting. So that's what the lighting was. I thought that he was just trying to put that aura about himself, you know, kind of keep himself in the, yeah, exactly. And then it's like, oh no, I just happened to be in the VIP room of the Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah, where all the section things go down.
I know. Look, trying to put that mystical bravado in front of the camera, but that's all right, because that's what we like. And again, getting back to what he was saying, somebody who's really about supporting the brand, supporting the sport, supporting BKFC. Dude, that gets my heart pumping. That gives me chills when I see fighters doing that, because I am so deep ingrained. I am like a tick that has gone through every single level and dug through every single level of skin layer that there is. That's how deep I am into BKFC. It's just my life now. So with it being your life, you want to see fighters, you want to see staff, you want to see anybody that you can that's associated with the product that feels the same way you do. That really feels the same way. Absolutely,
like, man. You know, we talk about it all the time, how much we both love the sport and just want to see it grow. And I mean, it's already the fastest growing sport in the world. Easily. But I can see, you know, like I always say, I can see in 2 years us being definitely, we're already being considered, you know, with UFC and other companies. But here in the next 2-3 years, I think we're going to be taking over everything.
Dave said we're going to be a solid number 2, probably within the next 3 to 5 years. We're going to be a solid number 2. We're going to be a direct competitor with the UFC. I mean, I truly believe that, because if you look at the momentum we've got, if you look at the way that we're turning out the product, we're not, you know, we're not pumping the brakes as far as content. We're putting that full throttle down to the floor with the content, the live events. The app is completely loaded up with so much different kinds of content. I was just talking about, you know, deep cuts, the BKFC deep cuts with our video mastermind, Evan Zentar. And Evan won a few awards for his work with the BKFC deep cuts. So that shows you the dedication that everyone has at whatever job they have within the BKFC family. So with people like that on board, it's no reason why we shouldn't be number 2 in just a few years. Absolutely. But yeah, that's right. We got Andy Hall with us and I believe that, Andy. And Andy, you know, you've been with us, you know, you're not new on the staff, but you're definitely one of the newer people on the staff. And you've been doing a fantastic job with us. And I just wanted to kind of give you that shout out. And I know it's a stressful job. anything within BKFC has the potential to be a stressful job, but it's not because it's a bad job. It's because there's just so much on the table. There's so much on the plate for us, and the expectations the fans have for us. And, you know, it's incredible. It's incredible, the expectations that we have to live up to. So we've got to be consummate professionals 100% of the time. Tony, let's take a moment. Let's go ahead and recap real quick. BKFC 45. We had such a good time, but we always have a good time over there at Hard Rock Live. I've definitely got to hang out with Tony, and his bride-to-be, Zaidi, was hanging out with us. But she had a fabulous time, man. She is such a positive person. It's always cool to hang around her, man.
Definitely. You know, she loved her whole entire time there. That was her third show. Her first show was actually my first show ever as well. And then she came to the South Carolina card. And then, so this was her third card.
I remember seeing her there. Yeah.
She got to meet a lot of her favorite fighters and or people that she sees that I talk about all the time, should I say. And we got to hang out with Kai Stewart at the after party, and her and his girlfriend became best friends, and you know, she had a marvelous time. But yeah,
you saw that coming, though. You saw that coming. I mean, you know, they've been talking before the fight. I mean, it was almost like kindred spirits between those two. So you knew that was bound. You knew that was bound to happen, and that was good. But let's talk about the fights. Let's talk about the main event. A lot of people were really stoked about the main event, and it was the sixth title defense for Luis Palomino, him coming up against a fellow undefeated bare knuckle fighter in James Lights Out Lilly, first Welshman to ever challenge for a BKFC world title. And there was a lot of expectations on this, and as far as the fight itself went, when you've got two thunderstorms of technical ability, sometimes it's not always the most, I guess you could say, competitively exciting fight, because when you've got so much technique between two fighters, sometimes you don't know who's going to really pull the trigger and who's going to push full throttle.
Yeah.
And we didn't exactly get, I mean, people are saying a snooze fest. I saw technical ability in there, but I just didn't see the pulling the trigger the way that people wanted to see it. And that does happen. And it was, you know, I mean, we built it up. I mean, it was a big fight. It had big opportunities. It didn't turn out the way that everyone would want, but it did turn out the way that Palomino want. He got the victory. He's done something that no one in the history of bare knuckle fighting has ever done. He has successfully defended a world championship 6 times. He has now put himself on a plateau that no one has ever been on before, Tony. No one.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, they didn't. Yeah, everybody thought they were going to be going at it, trying to knock each other out, which is what I thought. And yeah, it was a technical fight. They kind of stood back. Punch count was really low. I think Howie. Yep, there you go. I was going to say, I think Howie put up the punch score. It wasn't. It wasn't what we all expected it was going to be. But nonetheless, it was, you know, it was a good technical fight, I guess. I mean, it was what it was.
Hey, I'm not gonna cast aspersions on their character. They did something
no.
I wouldn't do, and that's stepping through the ropes to begin with. I mean, I start the fights, I don't finish them. So all props to them for what they do. But I also think that BKFC, the way that BKFC has built itself up, everybody is looking for that knockdown, drag out, you know, brawl sense that they've seen from so many different fights. And they have to realize that there are fights of different temperatures. There are fights of different seasons that don't necessarily fall within the brawling category, unless you find yourself in that situation and you have to fight out of it. So you got two technical fighters that it just didn't happen. It didn't happen the way that we wanted it to play out. But they stepped in there and they got the job done. He got the job done. He got the W, not in the most dominant fashion, but it just makes me wonder, where do we go from here? what's next for Palomino. Palomino definitely is going to want a big money, big name fight after this. And I'm going to be honest, with his record and what he's done with BKFC, he absolutely has that coming in his immediate future, I think. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, he deserves it from his other fights. And I'm not saying this was a bad fight. But more, more or less, I guess what happened, I'm going to say after the fight, put a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. And, no, he definitely deserves a big fight. Now
people make mistakes, Tony. People make,
yeah.
People make mistakes. It happens to the best of us. You can't hold somebody accountable for every single thing that they do, because the same person who's holding you accountable makes those same mistakes themselves. So you don't want to really hold anybody up to a hypocritical standpoint. So it happens. And the best thing that he can do is, move forward in a positive way and let the fans know that he's there to put on the best fights possible as the representing undefeated world champion. I think that that's a good thing. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and go to the co-main event, and that was Jake Bostwick going up against a very, very tough opponent, Eric Lozano. Now, Eric's only 1-1 with the company, but coming off of the fact that he came off of a big knockout victory over the former middleweight champion Francesco Ricci, there was a lot of expectation coming into this fight with Jake Bostwick, and Jake never gives us a dull fight. This guy was absolutely tailor-made for bare knuckle fighting. Back and forth and back and forth. Another situation that could have gone either way, but I think watching the fight as I did, I gave the edge, a little bit of the edge to Jake, as far as not only answering back shots, but he did put his foot on the gas a tiny bit more. But I am just saying a tiny bit more than Eric. Eric still gave us a fantastic fight for a co-main event.
Yeah, no, for sure. Going back and forth. I thought that that was, in my eyes, I think that was probably fight of the night. It was definitely, I would say, a harder fight for. Well, I'm not going to say harder. I guess with as easily as Eric beat Richie last time, I guess everyone thought that, the possibility of him coming in there and just knocking out him. But it's definitely he played into, his own hands and played it the way he wanted to, and circled around him a lot. Didn't give him a chance to really throw those big power shots, and he
wanted to. You saw that he had that big right cocked, man. He was ready to throw those really big shots, and Jake just didn't give him the opportunity to do that.
No, just kept scrolling out of the way, moving out of the way, and then every time he would throw it, he'd get right in there. And I feel like his game plan. Definitely would want to bring him back on, but I feel like his game plan was to tire him out, and it's kind of what he did. I felt like he kind of tired him out a little bit, taking some of that power off of those punches, and I think it played well into his hand. And I definitely had him winning, Boswick winning, and that was definitely a great fight. I mean, like I said, to me, I believe it was fight of the night. I don't think, I think Dave Feldman said that he didn't award a fight of the night, but I believe that was definitely, to me, the fight of the night.
That was definitely a candidate for the fight of the night. And, there's also so much going on. I want to circle around to G. Perez in a second and talk about that situation. But before we do that, I call this as definitely the night of upsets, because we had two big upsets in there. The first one in the form of Dylan Weinmiller.
Oh yeah,
getting the knockout over Steve Townsend. Now, every time Steve fights, in his backyard, we always see that aggressive tomahawk fighter that he is. Yeah. But Dylan was still coming over off of a high, off of his last very, very quick knockout that he had. And I think that once you actually get that dominant knockout, that confidence level sticks with you, and you could see it when he was fighting Steve. And I didn't think that Steve was going to run him over, but I did have Steve for the victory. And then he comes out of nowhere and just gives those beautiful unanswered shots. I remember the playback on it when I was watching the playback on that. I was just like, my God, those were just beautiful. The timing on those was exactly how you counter someone like Steve Townsend. And that was just incredible. And then, of course, the biggest one, in my opinion, as of recent memory, Rene Rodriguez. Oh my God.
Oh,
Friggin'
man,
James Knucklehead Dennis.
Dennis,
0-1 for 0-1 for the company. Not saying anything bad about him. Coming in against somebody who I mean, with his street fights included, we're looking at a record of 16-2 coming into that, and getting the knockout victory as ferociously as he did. I mean, it was a little bit of give and take back and forth. And then all of a sudden, James just pulls the trigger, comes out of nowhere. I'm jumping out of my seat. I'm just like, good for you. And of course, he had Kai Stewart, our new world champion, our new featherweight world champion in his corner. So there's that championship confidence spilling over for Mr. Dennis. Man, like I said, night of the upsets, Tony.
It was definitely great. That was another good fight. I honestly, I forgot about that fight. He definitely knocked him down. What, I want to say 3 times.
3 times,
I believe. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
3 times in that round. Yeah, I can't lie. I knew he was a good fighter, but I didn't see that coming.
That was a step up. That was a step up.
And he definitely hit him with some great power. And it was definitely a good stoppage, I'm gonna say.
I agree. Now, our main man, the cut man, getting the cut man Perez getting another victory, and he is now 3-0 with the company over Ryan Carroll. Ryan, his second fight with BKFC, tough dude, but the confidence level and the forward pressure that G Perez, that our boy G, is putting on the fighters cannot be denied. It absolutely cannot be denied. And also his level of calmness that I see from this man is just incredible. And of course, once the fight is over, we see the back and forth between him and Bryce.
Yeah.
Which the boss announced to us on his interview with our main man, Cyrus Fees, that August 11th, they are going to be towing the line together. We're going to have another social media influencer. We all know that Bryce is a very big TikTok influencer, incredible following, but Dave definitely went ahead and put it out there and said, we don't mind influencers coming into the squared circle, but you got to play by our rules. If you want to come into Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, then you have to live up to what the title says, bare knuckle. So we're going to see our first influencer toe the line, sans gloves. I'm excited.
And then we also heard today on the BKFC podcast that the one and only 2-time champ, Lorenzo Hunt, will be training him. So let's see, let's see what he looks like. G the Cut Man is he's been putting on a dominant force, and we all know that he's definitely one of our biggest boys. One of my best friends. Always been a good guy, and definitely it's going to be interesting. He's only got 2 months to train with Lorenzo, but we've seen what other people have done that have trained with Lorenzo. So, and we see Ryan O'Reilly out there. I've seen him training every single day with Lorenzo, and he looks completely different, body frame and everything. So, who knows? Lorenzo could turn this guy into a straight killer out there, and might put some pressure on G and do some damage. Who knows?
You never know. When you've got someone like Lorenzo Hunt and the plethora of knowledge that this man possesses, you never know what's going to happen. He could be Dr. Frankenstein for all we know. He could be developing a monster. That we all know. But we cannot deny what G has done for us. And, the last time that we were talking with G, he was also on the Bare Knuckle Show today. With our man Brian Sosha, and he was talking about the perspective that he's learned as a cut man. He has been able to extrapolate a very unique viewpoint as a bare knuckle fighter from being right there and looking outside in. And a lot of fighters don't necessarily get that opportunity before they step foot into the squared circle. Some of them just step in on their bare knuckle debut, and they didn't have the perspective or the job title that G has had with the company, being our cut man and also working in fighter logistics. So I think that definitely gives him his edge, and that is an edge that Bryce is not going to have coming into that fight. He's not going to come into that fight.
And plus, you know, he's like you said, he's already had 3 fights with us. 3, I want to say all 3 first round KOs. Yeah, I don't see him having any trouble with him. But again, like we said, he's training with the 2-time champ. And from what I've seen from his last, I guess celebrity fight or whatever he did, if you see in the video, Lorenzo Hunt was standing behind him. So who knows how long Lorenzo's actually been training him?
I know. Now, this man has been behind the strings longer than most of us, knew that he was back there to begin with. But, Lorenzo's one of those kind of guys. You never know which direction he's coming from to begin with. So seeing him behind the scenes before any of us knew about it, I'm not surprised about it. The Juggernaut finds himself in interesting situations. But next up on the BKFC schedule, BKFC 46 coming your way from Newcastle upon Tyne at the Walker Activity Dome, Newcastle, England. I regret that I will not be there, but the one place that I will be, as it will be at the official watch party over at Tour de Pizza in St. Pete with my main man, DJ Tony. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, the BKFC fighters that we are going to have over there. We're going to have the undisputed middleweight champion himself, Dave Mundell, will be joining us. We will have Crystal Pittman. We'll have Jared Warren. I mean, they're just going to be coming in by droves. We're going to be having Extreme Bare Knuckle. The Extreme Bare Knuckle squad is going to be there. They're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some giveaways. And that's going to be coming your way Saturday. We ask everyone to start showing up at about 1 o'clock. Because the actual fights and the watch along begin at 2, and DJ Tony and myself will be having a live broadcast of the Bones to Domes podcast. We're going to have all kinds of people come on, talk to us. Anybody who wants to come on and talk to us. We can have fans, we can have fighters, we can have Street Nat if he wants to come on and talk about what's happening with Tournament to Pizza. If you want to come on and talk with us, please. We open arms invite you to the watch party. We had our main man on last week, Caleb Harris, main eventing against easily, in my opinion, one of his toughest opponents, Rico Bon Franco. I just think that I hope that they tear the house down. I want to see them do that. I don't think we're going to see technical prowess in that one. I think that we're going to see 2 guys that are ready to scrap.
Oh, yeah. Caleb brings it every single time. So definitely looking out for that fight. That's done. I can say that's probably going to be definitely fight of the night. And also, like our main man said here, who we haven't seen him fight in a while,
the Animal.
Travis Thompson, the Animal is going to be in the building.
Hell yeah.
We also got Glendale Frutrell coming. We also have Brandon Allen. I can't think who else. I know we have another 1 or 2. Oh, Ryan Reaver is going to be in the building.
Oh, yeah, the Royal one. Yes.
The Royal one is going to be there, and the Animal is going to be there, and they're facing off against each other. So let's hope nothing pops off. Maybe we'll have a pizza fight or something, but that's hope that's all it comes to.
I think we can handle a pizza fight at absolute bare. That's the bare minimum that we want to have to deal with, guys. Remember, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
Exactly.
It's time to toe the line when it counts. Toeing the line in the squared circle when the cameras are live and the lights are bright. That's the time to get it done. We just want nothing but peace and pizza grease on Saturday. That's all we're looking to do. And once again, Tony, we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be talking all things bare knuckle, having a great watch along. There's a lot of British and English fighters that are on this card that are going to be my man Gary Fox is going to be on the card again. He's another one that's kind of an up and comer. So there's going to be a lot of interesting fights. I believe we've got either 10 or 11 fights scheduled. I do believe it's 11 fights that are scheduled on that. That's going to be on the BKFC app. 2 p.m. Eastern time, special start time because there's a 5-hour time difference between us and the UK. So we get started a little earlier. So over there, it'll be 7 o'clock I think it's Greenwich Mean Time, I believe. Yes, Greenwich Mean Time, which is the British time over there. Tony, today felt good. Today felt good.
Oh,
Today
yeah.
I know
There's
that
more.
there's a stride that you're supposed to hit. I feel that we've hit that stride a little
Yeah.
early on. Not everybody gets this kind of stride in our second one. I'm having fun. I know you can feel you can
Oh
feel
yeah, I feel
bones
way
to
more relaxed
don'ts.
this show. Definitely way more relaxed this show. And it was a great show, man, with two great fighters on the Marine and D-Day. And both got to give out a big shout out to Kevin Smith. Both Smith brother fighters. Also, Kevin Smith will be in the building, and who knows who he's going to bring along from the Smith brothers gym over there in Hudson,
Jackson
Florida.
Wink Smith brothers now.
There you go.
Jackson Wink. Now that they have collaborated together, and I think that that's just such a great collaboration because Jackson Wink is known for turning out some of the most consistently impressive combat sports fighters in the world. I mean, they're just known as one of the premier gyms in the entire world. Awesome collaboration, working together, building a bare knuckle foundation within a gym, because we know at one point that that's going to be common practice in a lot of gyms. Now it's going to take time. It's not something that happens overnight, but you're going to see more and more major MMA gyms, major boxing gyms that are going to start to implement bare knuckle training opportunity, because as our roster grows, the need grows. The need does grow for more bare knuckle effective training. The need is there. The need does grow for those fighters. And it's so interesting because, Tony, we don't really get the opportunity, man, to watch something build the way that BKFC has built. And as it implements itself into the combat sports world, how everything just kind of changes, but it changes for the better. It changes for the better because those doors are open that were not open before.
Definitely. And it's moving so fast that I can't wait to see,
Wow.
Can't wait to see how fast all of these new gyms come out. I mean, I remember when I used to live in Virginia, I'm going to say, I lived there 10 years ago, but probably around 15, 17 years ago, I remember they put a UFC gym out there. And at that time, I wasn't really into martial arts, anything. I was still into my WWF at that time. And I was like, I don't, no one's going to go in that gym or whatever. And I believe that, now that's how people are seeing it. We're starting to get all these bare knuckle gyms popping up, and, everybody's going to, look at it like, same thing as they did UFC when it first came out. Oh, that's crazy. Nobody's going to do that. But in another 2-3 years, they're going to be everywhere. It's not going to be nothing but bare knuckle gyms. And, I can't wait.
Steve, a very, very good point. Steve, yeah, that's right. Steve Schaefer, he's coming in. He is looking to do some damage with BKFC. You're absolutely right. That's another fighter that's coming in, that's going to toe the line with us. He's another fighter that we need to talk about. Impressive background, MMA background, boxing background, absolutely. Absolutely. He's another one that is going to start making some noise, because so many people, Tony, they think that this is a place that people who couldn't hack it in this sport come over and try their hand at that. And we know 100% that that is not the case. It's so easy for the casual combat sports fan to look at that and say, it's so easy that. How many of those have come over here and they couldn't hack it? And they absolutely, they couldn't hack it. They thought it was just going to be a stepping stone to get them back into the big game, whatever that big game may be. And then they realized, wow.
Get hit with one of those power shots and go home running.
This is not a place where people come to die. This is a place where people come to thrive.
Oh, yeah. Bringing some of those ex-UFC fighters, as we've seen, come over here thinking that, it's a game, and end up saying they're never going to do it again. So
it is. It's a true gut check. It's a true gut check, because at least when it comes to MMA or boxing, there's some degree of safety, and even though that you're still stepping into a fight, you've still got wrapped hands and you've still got gloves. Now, I understand that you're only working with 4-ounce gloves in MMA, but 4-ounce gloves and tape, that's a world of difference. That is a world of difference when it comes to standing in there. And the only thing that you've got is just extra tape on your wrist. And some people, they look at it at a weird angle and they think it's taped hands. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. If you always look at it when they turn that hand, there's that 1-inch difference from the top of the knuckle to the top of the tape. So those are 100%, but you need that extra tape, Tony. Even though we've seen a couple of fighters way back when, I don't know if you remember, remind me if you were with us on BKFC 4.
No, I
don't think you were with it. I don't think you were with us yet
8.
on BKFC. Yeah, okay.
No,
All right, so you came into BKFC 8. Now BKFC 4, we had the rematch with Tony Lopez and what's his name? Oh God, I'm spacing for a second, and I shouldn't be spacing on that. Joey Beltran. We had the rematch from BKFC 1, and I guess Tony was getting, I guess, a little sick of the tape wrap. So throughout the fight, he's taken off the wrap on his wrist, and he's going full-blown old school bare knuckle. I don't need that tape. He's like, for some reason, he thought it was like hindering his performance. So he gets rid of that tape, and he's got bare fists and bare wrists. Very, very interesting to see what happens. You're not going to see that often. Okay, what's going on? Do I have headphones? No. Hey, Extreme Bare Knuckle Page. The fact that I have these particular headphone muffs and the shirt was an accident. That was not planned. I promise you.
He didn't notice until he got on, and he was like, "Oh, dang, my headphones match my shirt."
I had no idea. I promise you that was not planned. I know it seems like it's something that I would plan, but this time, total accident. So I just love when we get an opportunity to have a forum to really start to get into the nitty gritty when it comes to bare knuckle. Because Tony, you've been with us since BKFC 8, and that was a great time to come in because that was a great show. We had all kinds of celebrities joining us. That was right there. That was a big fight with Gabriel Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Yep. And Bigfoot, Antonio Bigfoot Silva. That was a nasty knockout too. I remember Antonio going down and his head clipping the bottom rope. I was just like, ooh. And I'm surprised that we have not seen Gonzaga again. I'm very surprised. I figured that after a win like that he'd be all primed, all pumped to continue his bare knuckle journey. And we have not seen sight of anything of Gonzaga.
How about him and Big Ben? That'd be a good one.
That'd be fun. Oh, I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Before we get off, Howie, we will actually be talking about this next. We'll leave this for next week. We got another special guest coming on next week that I think would be a good talk for this. You want to let them know who we have on next week? Or are we going to wait or?
No, that's all right. I think that we can go ahead and talk about it. Next week, as we all know, is the 4th of July. So this will be a pre-recorded show because we want to make sure that everybody has the time with their families on the holiday. But we are going to have one half of the dynamic commentary team with BKFC, as Cyrus Fees likes to call the walking fight of the night. Chris Lights Out Lytle is going to join us next week. And I'm sure that that question that you had, Howie, about talking about the Apprentice series, he is definitely going to be a good guest to kind of go over that and see what's happened that. But Chris Lytle is going to be joining us next week. And we just want everybody to have a very safe and a very happy 4th of July weekend, because once again, we will not be live for that one, but so much still happening, Tony. We got the watch along party, Tour de Pizza in St. Pete, July 1st for BKFC 46. Make sure that you come and check us out if you're in the area. There's going to be good food, good brew, good times. We got so much to talk about, and we're going to have so many guests, Tony. We're going to have so many guests joining us.
Definitely. We got, like we said, at least 7-8 fighters coming out, giving away a bunch of giveaways, giving away some free tickets as well to BKFC 46.
46. Yes, sir.
Is it 46? No, 40.
No, we just had BKFC 45 at Hard Rock Live, so we are at 46.
Yeah, but I'm saying we'll be giving away tickets to 47 in
Hell
Lakeland.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Absolutely. You heard that out there. We are going to be giving away tickets to the RP Funding Center for July 14th, BKFC 47. And that right there is going to be a banger of a card. So you
There we
definitely
go.
don't want to miss out on that. BKFC.com for the BKFC app. We'll be giving out, once again, tickets on that. Tickets still available at the RP Funding Center. So much happening. I mean, we can't fill an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. We got so much to talk about. But we want to save a little bit of it. And I want to give my co-host time to talk because I know I talk more than 5 people combined.
No, you're fine. I've said everything I needed to say. I actually have all 3 of my daughters waiting outside the door. They've been texting me for 30 minutes, asking me when I'm going to be done. I promised to watch a movie with them tonight, so they're waiting.
You
my
gotta
daughter
go.
opened the door like 3 times and poked her head in. You almost done? Are you done yet? Can we watch the movie now?
Love it.
Making noises over there. But yeah, definitely appreciate you as always, Jeff. Great show. Thank you for everybody who's watched. And again, like we said, or like he said, next week will be a recorded show, but it will drop at 9 p.m. for whoever wants to watch it with the one and only Chris Lights Out Lytle. So make sure you watch that. Download. Go ahead and download it too. Make sure you check us out. Hopefully here in the next week, we'll also be on Spotify. I'm working on that. I started that today, but we're also on YouTube. So make sure you check us out. And please give us a follow on Instagram at Bones to Dome on Instagram. That's with a 2, the number 2. Yeah, that's all I got for the good people. I hope everybody has a great night. Jeff, I'll see you Saturday at Tournament de Pisa for a great party. And then, which might turn into a pool party after. Who knows?
You never know. With this group, you never know what's going to happen. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Keep spreading the word. Bones to Domes. You can find us all over social media, Instagram, Facebook. Just make sure that you keep tuning in and spread the word. I mean, we want to grow as a platform for these fighters, for entertainers, for anybody who's at the top of their field and they want to get something off their chest and they just want to have some fun with us. Please, the best thing that you can do for us is like those pages, share those invites, and spread the word on Bones to Domes. We're here to stay.
You know it. See everybody Saturday live. We'll be live for the whole entire fight. So make sure you check us out for a bunch of special guests. Everybody have a good night. Thank you. Boom.